So talk a little bit about, James, about what it's like for you to be here.
Sure.
Like just...
Yeah. Yeah, where to start? Because we crossed paths and have had very different lives, but then really connected with specific spiritual teachings and work, and so I had a connection and a resonance there. And then synchronistically just ended up living here and spending a lot of my time here and everything. And it's been very, very powerful to just have a container for me to do the work type of thing.
Yeah, that's what Blissful Earth is. It's the container.
Yeah.
And the Lemurians, especially Adama and Sonara, have helped us create a plasma field around this container so that it's so that we can do this high vibrational work and not be so influenced by negative outside influences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter to what degree you believe in something like that. It is about the intent, and there is a lot of safety and energetic divine presence that's here to support us in these higher levels of integration, embodiment, and healing. And I, just being a sensitive and all that, I can really tune to that very, very easily. And the more that we're doing it, the more that we're speaking to it, the more that we're meditating consistently with a specific intention, which is really just to raise the vibration and maintain it consistently, it's just very palpable type of thing. Because of the consistency and because of us raising our frequency, which just means we're more in that energy more often than not. And so yeah, being here is a really powerful container because I've noticed it takes a lot of time to build our momentum into being vibrational beings, into the 5D reality, because we have to pretty much stop all of our momentum and energy that goes into the 3D world and really come back to center and fully commit to moving forward in the new paradigm. And so it's just a really powerful container to have space. I mean, we have nature all around us, which is just amazing. There's access within this community of other sacred areas and spots as well to go and just do forest bathing and meditation, and there's just a lot of intent here.
Here we have the labyrinth.
There's the labyrinth. Of course, there's the portal, which is literally right there. And then again, this container as a whole, everything that we do as far as meditation, if we're to offer workshops or whatever like that, everything's intentional about cultivation of the higher alignment of vibrational beings or a 5D reality type of thing. So I'm all in. I'm here, I'm on site, I'm committed, and I'm loving every aspect of it, and I'm grateful for everything that this place has offered me thus far, and everything that it's gonna be growing into as well. And it's just becoming clearer and clearer as to what that is, what it's gonna look like, and then also just trusting the divine timing for others that are meant to come here and hang out with us and play and meditate and visualize and actualize and do all these DNA activation things and playing in that realm, but also, you know, studying the science behind it to some degree, and really, yeah, just opening up our doors for those that are ready to really step into this on the next level.
Yeah, you mentioned synchronicity. It's so, the synchronicity is, that to me, that's how I connect with my higher self, is through that through synchronicity. So my higher self is always giving me exactly what I need in order to do whatever it is we're to do next. Like, just take this room for instance. Somebody was using this room as an office, and then they were inclined to leave and they left, and now we have this room, and now we're using it for a ceremony and for videotaping. And so we couldn't have done this yesterday because
literally like yesterday couldn't have happened.
We couldn't have happened, and now it's happening. So now it's time to do the video, and so it's just so amazing how everything has happened that way with Blissful Earth. And so it's really exciting to see, oh, what's next? You know, what's the next thing that we're going to manifest, that we're going to create here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of excitement there and trust and just like very playful energy and readiness of like, wow, this is really building momentum in a really positive, amazing direction too. That's you know, it's very divine. It's very love based and very authentic. Like it just feels very grounded and like we're very ready.
We're ready.
Yeah.
And then
Feels
at the
good.
same time, all the things, the third dimensional world outside of here is all collapsing. All that stuff is all this drama and you know, people talking about war and everything, and all that is going away. It's that reality is contracting, and then our 5D reality is expanding. And so it's such an interesting thing to just watch. I don't get caught up in the drama of it. I just watch it, go, oh, look at how that's happening, look at how that's happening. And I just know 100% for sure that nothing bad is going to happen. The galactics and the higher vibrational beings are not going to let anything bad happen. They can't, because they do not want to create more fear and drama on the planet, because they want to create safety and have people connected to their higher self so that they can raise their vibration. And so here at Blissful Earth, that's why we're here, is for those who are ready to take that next step, who want to come experience the new Earth life, the we call the Lemurian life, here on Blissful Earth, where there's no 3D drama, you don't have to worry about surviving, everything will be taken care for you, and all you have to do is come here and live in nature and play and meditate and
just learn and cultivate how to be yourself. And cultivate that connection with your higher self, because it's always there. It's always, in a sense, trying to communicate with us. Right. But when we're so distracted in the 3D, it's all doing. It's not alignment and being, because it is always communicating. It's just about getting quiet enough, loving enough, open enough, authentic enough, for it to like really start to like become a real like full-time experience, where it's not like, oh yeah, I enter these states, you know, in meditation, and that's great, that's a great start, but to really be more authentically living from just alignment and communication with our higher self is it's the new paradigm, it's the new direction that we're going in for sure.
And we're so excited because there aren't very many places like Blissful Earth. This is like really rare, and so we're so excited to have this opportunity to be one of the first places that higher dimensional beings will come and embody for, and Lemurians have said that they will come here. This is one of the first places they will come. And so the Lemurians are an interesting group because it's easier for us to connect with them, because they're only in they're only in a fifth dimensional, and they can go higher, but they mostly live in fifth dimensional reality. And most other, like the galactic beings, they're usually 6 through 10, and so it's harder for us to raise our vibration to get to them. It's easier. The Lemurians are more accessible to us, and so we're so fortunate to have them, that they're here on the land, and there's Pleiadians here, and there's Arcturians here, and the more we raise our vibration and raise the vibration on the land, then the more we gain access to them. And that's a fun notion to consider, that we're getting more and more connected to them all the time.
Yes, it really is a fun notion. Yeah, it's getting more and more real. Yeah, for lack of better terms, it's just
like
becoming
that's
more and more normal.
Yeah, that we're hanging out with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Energetically,
Yeah, different levels of initiation, building your momentum, cultivation, seeing it clearer and clearer as far as how these energies communicate with us here, And then as far as more physical representation from Lemurian energy or beings, that's just gonna take more and more shape. It'll become clearer and clearer as to how it's gonna transpire, how we initiate it, how we invite it in, how we hold space. And obviously there's different things we're doing with the portal to initiate that and to bring that energy in. Yeah.
I wanted to say a little bit more about the DNA strands, the quantum strands. Actually, they're not really, they're called strands, but they're actually energy fields. The two strands, strand 1 and 2, are biological, physical strands, the double helix. And then once we go past them, then they're more energy fields. And so those are so amazing to get activating them. Like I said earlier, it really puts us in a timeless place. So the second strand is more of a linear time, that regulates linear time. And then when we move into the higher, the quantum strands, the quantum fields, then that's when we get into that timeless place. And that's, to me, is really freeing to get into that timeless place, because then it takes away stress, it takes away worry about time, it takes away, it gets us out of the duality of having to survive, you know, that usually surviving is our focus. And so this takes us out of that, takes us out of the survival mode and puts us into this place of divine neutrality, where we can just enjoy and live and just accept whatever happens and not have to control each thing that we do. So that's one of the most exciting things I find about the activating the DNA, the quantum DNA. It's really fun to do that work. And that's what we were doing today in that meditation. That meditation was the strand number 4 is connecting with the crystalline entities and the sacred geometric shapes and and all the sacred sites around Gaia. That's a powerful experience to move into that realm, because it does really connect us more with the oneness. We start to expand that energy out and connect with the oneness on the planet. And there's so much power in the crystals around the planet and the sacred geometric shapes. It's so important to access their energy, to connect with them. It really helps us further advance our consciousness into those higher realms.
Yeah, and I notice the more that we do it and we reach out with intent to connect with the sacred sites or structures, or like you said, even like mineral deposits, the more easily it is to do, and then you just jump right to it. It's like your mind's eye just jumps all the way around the planet, and it activates that grid, and then it can even, you know, you can feel the grid inside your body and how it's connected to that as well.
Yeah.
And I always think about, you know, crystals are so powerful, very much like water. The realization that there is actually only one source of water on the planet, and that's water itself. And so all water is connected, and all crystals are connected as well. So I found that a very powerful, like, playful meditation connection to make. Is that it's part of that oneness, where everything is interconnected type of thing.
Yeah, and the earth is filled with silicon. It's either water and silicon are like the two main ingredients in the earth. And so the earth was made for ascension, and
So
those are the
great.
two ingredients in our bodies as
Yeah.
well, as water and silicone. So
Right.
this is what we were made to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last thing I want to say, James, is just how you and I both, we talk about this, how this is why we're here, and this is all we do
Right.
all day when I'm home, even when I'm at work. I work as a psychotherapist. When I'm doing this work in my clients, even though I don't say it to them, some of them I can, but some of them I don't. But this is what I do in my work, and this is what I do when I come home. And so this is all I do now, and it's so wonderful to just be able to focus on what my heart loves to do. That
Mhm.
this is what I was made to do.
Yeah. And what we're actually here to do. Because we're not here to just work and just survive. It is time to move more into the higher energy of love, and where we can actually start thriving and live in harmony with the earth and with each other, and focus on the healing that's meant to transpire, that we're meant to do for ourselves, and hold space for each other to do the same thing, and ultimately for humanity as a collective, and for Gaia herself as well. That's why we're here, and so this is a powerful portal.
Yeah, so say more about that, James, with other people. Like, we're here to hold space for them. So when people come here, say what your vision of that is.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to. The biggest thing is, we're holding space. Like, all of us have to, in a sense, do it for ourselves or by yourself, but you're not alone in the process. There are others that are on the same path, doing the same kind of work. But as far as the inner work and enlightenment and raising your vibration and all that, everyone's going to differ in their language and the how they do that. And so really what we're going to do is just hold space, because anything around this, it has to be self-realized. Listening to yourself, knowing yourself directly, and communicating with your own higher self. We can absolutely offer each other insight and perspective, but we can't give others anything really, except for our love. Our love and our authentic seeing of them exactly as they are, and knowing that part of them, and then just holding space for each other, for each of us to raise our vibration from internally, and knowing directly for ourselves. Each of us individually can absolutely do that. And so, as a container, we can host space, and there's different things. We have different areas of expertise, so we can offer workshops through the day or something like that. And ultimately, it's going to be a container for sharing perspective, sharing our stories. So if someone is going through a certain level of healing, then we can share insight as to how we might have done that, or just share a little bit of our story that might help another do that clearing or that healing work or whatever. Because we all have something to share, we all have something to offer, and it'd just be amazing to have more space to do that, have the openness to do that, and have the container that is the intent, that is the focus, which is literally like letting everything that's not in alignment with vibrational living or 5D consciousness, literally like letting all that fall away, and literally come back to presence, like full presence, as present as you can, and start moving forward with the love, the light, the intention of how you actually want to feel and how you actually want to start living and thriving within the new world. And
because here people won't have that 3D distraction.
Right?
Yeah, so they won't be online, they won't be listening to the news, they won't have, they won't be getting phone calls, they won't have to worry about what's happening out there. They can just focus on hearing, connecting with their higher self, connecting with their own healing, learning to raise their vibration in this high vibrational place.
Yeah. and being it or doing it. I mean, that's the main thing that I've been doing. It's like it's the only thing that I do is raise my vibration and then maintain, or do the embodiment aspect of it and cultivate for self, for myself, so I just know it directly. And one of the biggest things that we get from channelings as far as 5D is simply start being it now. And so that's very much what we're speaking to as well, is just come here and be it to the greatest extent that you possibly can. And then you'll just be refining. You'll be refining your clarity, you'll be refining your inner knowing, and you'll know it. You'll know it directly, and no one's gonna have to give it to you. No one's gonna have to teach you, in a sense. You're gonna teach yourself. We're gonna hold space and, in a sense, learn and teach each other. But it's mainly about
experiencing each person
experiencing it for themselves, because that's where the answers are. Everything is within. Everything around enlightenment and 5D reality, and you're the creator of your experience, and how law of attraction works, and manifestation, and clarity of self, knowledge of self. All these things like have to be self-realized, and it's that way for a reason, and it's very dynamic and beautiful in that way. Like, just as a fundamental mechanism of the whole universe, ascension is built in, much like, you know, the earth is built for this. This is a learning ground for beings to come into self-mastery, to raise their vibration and become 5D creators. So yeah.
And
that's what we're doing.
And again, the synchronicity thing. So everyone who comes here, they're going to experience exactly what they need to. Whether it's a ceremony, whether it's a meditation, whether it's a walk in nature, whether it's going looking at a sunset, no matter what it is, they're going to get, whether it's the relationships they share here with other people that are here, that'll be here at exactly the time they're here, that it'll all be perfect for them. And it's all their creation. Everyone who comes here will be their creation.
Yeah, I have like main things that I feel I'm gonna focus on as an offering for individuals that are interested in what I have to offer. But ultimately, we're just offering our energy, our space, our time, our presence. Because everyone's gonna fall into the right alignment of what they need. They need to experience, or just having the space to actually feel and open up their energy field, creative expression, or just even, you know, exploring the land here. It's going to be, there's like a vast range of things that are going to be available for anyone that resonates with what we're doing and the space that we're holding. So it's all very synchronous. When you get a calling, you get a feeling, you resonate with a people or a community or an intention or the language that's used, then you just start following your path. Just start following what glitters for you, type of thing. And the rest it just keeps opening up. It becomes clearer and clearer that you've always been on the path, and now it's time to start expanding and exploring new ways of living, new ways of being, new ways of meditating, embodiment, cultivating, and just getting some fresh perspective on, well, how do you do this? How do you raise your vibration? How do you crystallize it?
How do you live in the 5D reality?
Yeah, how do you actually do that?
Yeah.
Right? Well, how you actually do that is it's the conundrum of like, well, you have to actually do it, or have to actually be it. And it does have to be self-realized. And so it comes back to practice or cultivation and knowing directly. Oh, this is how you live in alignment. Oh, this is what it feels like. Oh, this is how it feels. This is how it's experienced, right? Because all the words and everything we offer as a lecture or a talk or a perspective, it's just a pointer. It's just a pointer to an experience, but the answer is actually in the experience of living it, of being it energetically.
Yeah, so that's basically what people will experience when they come here. They're going to be living in the new earth. This is the new earth.
Right, it's an initiation into it, type of thing.
Yeah. and people have never had that. That's never existed on the planet before,
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's taken me a long time to like really recognize like how much time, energy, momentum, focus, sense of self we've given like ourself away to the 3D paradigm reality, which is like strictly programming. Like it's linear duality, separation, lack. All of these aspects
Yes.
are very ingrained, and so it does take time. It takes time for all of us to do this, to really pull our energy back into like full alignment and sovereignty and know that really clearly. Because if we can't rest within ourselves and just be and just know and be authentic and loving and accepting, there has to be that foundation that needs to be built in order for us to move more forward in the right direction with clarity of self. So it does take time, yeah.
I like when you said lack. That is so important.
It's one of the big ones.
Yes,
biggest,
because that's what most people experience all day, all the time. Is like, oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I want to eat this. Whatever. It's always comes from a place of lack, and so for them to come here and not experience, there's no lack here. There's none.
Yeah.
Everybody, when people come here, they'll have exactly everything they need in order to be happy. They just have to practice living in that reality, the new reality, and see that they're not lacking anything.
Right. So that'll really help to set the foundation, so like you don't have any needs in that sense of like survival or whatever, and then so you can more authentically start actually cultivating and self-reflecting and realizing with like really a lot of clarity of what you actually want, of how you actually want to live and be in the new world type of thing. So
and people will be able to experience vibration, because vibration is everything. So when you go to connect with a plant or a tree or even other people or other dimensional beings, the way we connect with them is through vibration.
Yeah,
So
first and foremost is vibration. Yeah. So yeah, lots of opportunity to explore that while you're here. Yeah, absolutely.